Imagine, for a moment, that you are standing in the dark. The air around you is heavy, smelling of wet iron and stagnant earth. It is a stillness so profound that you can hear the blood rushing in your own ears. You are deep beneath the canopy of the Amazon rainforest, inside a chamber that hasn't felt the touch of a breeze or the warmth of the sun in 12,000 years. For centuries, we believed the Amazon was a trap, a green hell that swallowed explorers and erased civilizations. We believed that before the arrival of Europeans, this vast basin was sparsely populated, a place where humanity lived lightly on the land, leaving no trace behind. We were wrong. New technology has peeled back the canopy, revealing that the jungle is hiding secrets far older and far more complex than history books are prepared to admit. Deep in the Brazilian-Colombian borderlands, a team of researchers has just broken the seal on a mystery dating back to the end of the last ice age. What they found inside wasn't just a settlement, it wasn't just a tomb, it was a message. A message left by a people who witnessed the sky catch fire and the world end. Today, we are going to walk the path of the forgotten builders and open the door to the most important discovery ever made in the Amazon. To understand what was found, you have to understand where it was hidden. The Amazon is the largest rainforest on Earth, covering 5.5 million square kilometers. From a plane, it looks like a solid ocean of green, but on the ground, it is a chaotic war zone of biology. Roots strangle stone, fungi dissolve wood, and rain washes away earth. The jungle is an engine of entropy. It specializes in erasing history. Early European cartographers called this region terra incognita, unknown land. They filled their maps with imaginary beasts and cities of gold like El Dorado. But as expeditions vanished and centuries passed, the scientific consensus shifted. The Amazon was deemed too hostile to support large-scale, complex societies. The acidic soil was too poor for farming, the heat was too intense for urbanization, but the locals, the indigenous tribes who have called this basin home for millennia, have always told a different story. They speak of the forest that remembers. They tell of ancestors who shaped the earth, who walked on stone roads that are now buried, and who hid from a great cataclysm in the belly of the earth. For a long time, archaeology dismissed these stories as myth, but in the last 20 years, the ground has begun to speak. We found terra prieta, patches of dark, engineered soil, rich in charcoal and nutrients, created by humans thousands of years ago to make the jungle bloom. We found pottery shards spanning miles, and then we found the shapes. The breakthrough didn't come with a shovel, but with a laser. In 2019, a research team led by Dr. Sofia Mendes initiated a massive Lidar survey over a remote sector of the Amazon basin. Lidar, or light detection and ranging, fires hundreds of thousands of laser pulses per second at the ground. By measuring the time it takes for the light to bounce back, computers can digitally strip away the trees, revealing the topography of the earth beneath. Dr. Mendes was looking for subtle burial mounds, but what she found was an impossible grid. The data returned images of sharp geometric lines cutting through the chaos of the jungle. Nature does not create perfect right angles. It does not build straight lines that run for 30 kilometers without deviating. The scans revealed raised platforms, rectangular courtyards, and U-shaped ceremonial structures oriented with astronomical precision. But there was one anomaly that stood out. At the north edge of the survey, the straight lines converged on a massive limestone ridge, and right at the base of that ridge, the laser readings went flat. The data showed a perfect oval surface, roughly 10 meters high, fused directly into the cliff face. It reflected the laser pulses differently than the surrounding limestone, suggesting a change in material density. It looked like a door. Dr. Mendes suspected this was a ritual site, but the thermal imaging taken a week later changed everything. While the surrounding rock cooled down at night, the oval retained heat. It was bleeding thermal energy from somewhere deep inside. There was a void behind that wall, and it was waiting.
The expedition to the ridge took 3 weeks of grueling travel by river barge and foot. When Dr. Mendez and her team finally reached the coordinates, the door was still buried under meters of soil and vegetation. But the cliff face above it was exposed, and it was covered in art. We aren't talking about a few crude symbols. This was a Sistine Chapel of the ancients, a cliff face stretching nearly 100 meters, covered in tens of thousands of intricate paintings using ochre pigment. As the team documented the figures, a chilling realization set in. These weren't animals of the modern Amazon. The artists had painted mastodons, prehistoric relatives of the elephant. They painted Paleolama, an extinct camelid, and giant ground sloths standing on their hind legs, dwarfing the human figures next to them. Carbon dating of the pigment binders placed the artwork between 12,600 and 11,800 years ago. This is the boundary of the Pleistocene-Holocene transition. These artists were living at the end of the Ice Age. But one panel, located directly above the buried oval anomaly, silenced the camp. It depicted the sky, but not a calm sky. It showed a ring of fire descending from the heavens. Below it, human figures were drawn bent over or fleeing into holes in the earth. To Dr. Mendez, this wasn't mythology, it was journalism. They were recording an event. Guided by the murals, the team began to dig at the base of the cliff, targeting the oval anomaly detected by the Lidar. Beneath 2 meters of root systems and humus, their shovels struck something hard. Not limestone, but a composite. A thick, calcified crust, a mix of minerals and clay that had been plastered over an opening and sealed by thousands of years of mineral runoff. They drilled a small pilot hole. Instruments immediately picked up a pressure differential. A hiss of air escaped, air that was chemically distinct from the humid jungle atmosphere outside. It was high in carbon dioxide and smelled intensely of iron and ozone. They had found the entrance. Entering the cave required full hazmat protocols. The air was stagnant, the dust undisturbed for millennia. As the team moved deeper, their lights revealed that this was no natural cavern, or rather nature had built it, but human hands had perfected it. The floor was leveled. The stalagmites had been cleared away or carved into smooth pillars. But the most jarring discovery lay in the main chamber, a vast dome-like space roughly the size of a cathedral. Arranged on the floor in a perfect semicircle were ribs. These weren't human bones. They were the ribs of the megafauna depicted outside. Mastodons and giant sloths. Each bone was massive, calcified and heavy, standing upright in the dust like the arches of a strange church. They were spaced with mathematical intention. Inside this arc of bones lay a central platform made of fused stone. On it sat a series of ceramic vessels sealed with wax and resin. When one was carefully opened in the field lab later, it contained not grain or gold, but seeds. Seeds of plants that no longer grow in the Amazon. Seeds of a dry, savanna-like ecosystem that existed before the rainforest took over. Dr. Mendez realized the magnitude of what they were standing in. This wasn't a tomb for the dead. It was an ark for the living. It was a shelter. But what were they hiding from? The answer lay in the microscopic dust coating every surface of the cave.
Samples scraped from the cave floor and the sealed entrance were sent to geologists for analysis. The results provided the final, terrifying piece of the puzzle. The dust contained high concentrations of iridium and platinum, rare earth elements commonly found in cosmic bodies. More importantly, the samples were full of microspherules, tiny microscopic beads of glass. These are formed only when rock and silica are flash melted at temperatures exceeding 2,000 degrees Celsius and then rapidly cooled. This is the fingerprint of a cosmic impact. The data aligns with a controversial but increasingly supported scientific theory, the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis. Roughly 12,800 years ago, the Earth was thrown into a sudden, violent freeze. Many scientists now believe this was caused by fragments of a disintegrating comet striking the Americas. The impact would have ignited massive wildfires, blocked out the sun with ash, and triggered a collapse of the climate. The people who built this place didn't just vanish. They saw the end of the world coming. The murals outside depict the Ring of Fire. The sealed cave was a bunker, engineered to be airtight against the smoke and heat. The ribs of the megafauna were perhaps totems of the animals that were dying out around them, a memorial to the giants that didn't survive the change. The seeds were their hope for the future, a plan to replant the earth once the sky cleared. We often look at ancient peoples as primitive. We imagine them helpless against the forces of nature. But the discovery in the Amazon proves otherwise. The people of the rainforest were master architects, skilled survivors, and keepers of knowledge. They engineered the soil, they mapped the stars, and when the sky turned against them, they built a sanctuary that would endure for 12 millennia. Dr. Mendez and her team are still cataloging the finds within the ridge. Every seed, every bone, and every brushstroke is a testament to human resilience. The cave was sealed, perhaps because the people inside died, or perhaps because they eventually left, sealing their sanctuary behind them as a sacred place, a time capsule to warn the future. The Amazon is often called the lungs of the world, but deep beneath its roots, it is also the world's memory. It remembers a time when the earth burned, and it remembers the people who refused to give up. As we face our own changing climate and uncertain future, one has to wonder, if we were to build a sanctuary for the next 10,000 years, what would we put inside, and would anyone be left to find it? I'm Joe from the Inspired Inkwell. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so you don't miss our next documentary. And let me know in the comments, do you believe there are other bunkers hidden beneath the Amazon, or was this a singular event? See you in the next one.